If you followed the advice in the last video, you should have a great value proposition and really be promoting the idealized lifestyle that you hope to offer people through your services or products. This alone should be enough to give your account some real momentum. Also important is to make sure that your photos and videos are of a high standard. And this is something we'll look a lot more at in a subsequent video, but for now, suffice to say that people won't follow a channel if it is low quality. But that's not all you need to do. You can have the best account in the world, but if you don't know how to promote it, people aren't going to see your pictures or your Instagram stories. In this video, we'll be looking at what you can do to solve that problem and to make sure that people discover your channel and sign up in their droves. Now, the first thing you need to do to ensure your Instagram account grows quickly is to post content consistently. Now, that means you need to be consistent in terms of the frequency of your posting and in terms of the nature of the posting. People need to learn what they can expect from your account so that they can make the decision whether or not to follow you. If you created the personal brand as we mentioned in the last video, then it's okay to be a little bit looser in terms of what you post. But if you have a fitness brand and all you ever post are pictures of your dogs, then you're going to lose followers. Likewise, if you have a productivity brand and you fill it with images of yourself traveling, you'll lose fans. So be consistent and make sure that you're posting relevant content at least daily, ideally a lot more than that. You'll also need to do whatever else you can to help people know what your brand is all about. One of your most powerful tools in this respect will be your logo and your brand name. If you have an account all about fitness, you'll need a logo and a name that will communicate this as soon as people see it. You want your first-time viewers to instantly know what you're all about so they can decide there and then that they want to follow you and that your content is for them. But how do you get people to see your content in the first place at all? Well, there are a few different methods you can use. And the first is to interact with others. Now, remember that Instagram is a social media platform. And what is social media? Well, it's a communication tool. So if you aren't using Instagram for communication, then you aren't using it in the way that it's designed and you aren't making the most of it. One very easy way to help more people find your content is to look for the content that others are sharing and then comment on it or like it. We've already seen that people find this flattering, and if you think about your own reaction to that, chances are you would want to check it out just to see who it was who liked you. So search for different tags and see what other people are contributing. If you post about fitness a lot, then how about searching for the tag fitness, seeing what other people have contributed and then leaving some comments about those posts. They'll check you out to see what you're all about, and if they find a ton of amazing photos that appeal to them, chances are they'll follow you. Likewise, spend some time liking other photos and just generally using the platform. One thing you mustn't do, well, post on someone else's image and say, "Please check out my profile." All this does is make you look desperate and amateurish, and it's invasive because you're taking someone's photo and just using it as an excuse to promote your own nonsense. Always comment on the content of the picture and leave relevant feedback so that it's clear you're actually engaging and not just a bot posting random compliments. Another thing not to do is to tag people in your photos who aren't really in them. This is immensely frustrating and once again just cheap. It'll undermine the quality of your brand. The other way to bring more new people to your Instagram account is to integrate it with your other channels and accounts. One of the most effective ways to do this is through your own website or blog. If you have a WordPress site, then you can use a variety of powerful tools to integrate your Instagram account into it. One thing I've done, for example, is to add a feed from my Instagram into the right-hand column of my website. That way, someone who lands on my website will be able to see the kind of thing I post on Instagram and can decide to follow me there and then. It also has the added advantage of keeping my website up to date with a constant stream of new content. Even when I haven't been on my website for a while, it will look alive with new content and new updates, and it makes my visitors feel like they know me just that little bit better, thereby establishing trust. I also have buttons on my homepage to show people where they can follow me on Instagram and my other social media. Again, that means if they enjoy the content on my site, they know how to follow me on Instagram. What's more, though, is that I regularly just ask my fans to follow me. At the ends of posts and at the end of YouTube videos, I'll say, check out my Instagram account for more fitness inspiration, etc. This is a great way to draw attention to it and to make sure that it doesn't get overlooked. Another useful strategy is to use IFTTT and the sharing buttons within Instagram to post your content to your other social media accounts. For example, you can set it up so that any new picture added to your Instagram will automatically be posted to your Twitter account as well as your Facebook page. That way, people who aren't following you on Instagram will still be impressed by your content, and they'll get taken to your Instagram account if they click to enlarge the image. Another very powerful tool for growing your following on Instagram is to use tags correctly. Tags work just the same as they do in Twitter. You add them into your comment section beneath any new picture, and other users will then be able to search for them in order to see what new content has just been posted on that subject. So if you were to use Instagram's search function right now and look for makeup, you would find countless pictures uploaded by women showing off their makeup. Many of these would link to YouTube accounts and websites filled with makeup tutorials, and if you were in that sort of thing, then you might follow them. The same goes for fitness and productivity. Except it's a mistake to use those tags. Why? Because there are so many people who will search for these tags and who will take new photos. If you tag an image with fitness, it will instantly be drowned by hundreds of thousands of new photos and no one will see it. On the other hand, though, if you tag something with morning run, it might get a few more searches and get seen a few more times before it gets completely buried. Your aim in general, then, is to use tags that are popular, but not so popular as to make it impossible to stand out. And of course, the way you make a tag is simply to add a hashtag symbol in front of something before you post it. One of the most powerful ways to massively explode your channel on Instagram is to use influencer marketing. This essentially means you're going to contact someone who is already highly popular on Instagram and then try to convince them to promote you in some way. You might find a prominent fitness model and then ask them if they will consider sharing one of your images and linking to your account in their comments. That way, you gain instant access to a huge proportion of the people they have access to. Now, don't go straight for the biggest creators on Instagram with 1 million followers, as they probably won't answer you and they likely get a lot of messages. Instead, look for someone who's just a little bit bigger than you, someone you can stand to gain from, but is still small enough to be flattered that you contacted them. You can also aim for big brands that are running competitions and other promotions themselves. For example, many big channels will repost photos taken by their favorite Instagram contributors, and this way they encourage people to use their tags. You can do the same, and if your photo gets selected, it will give you access to a big audience once again. One thing to never do, though, is to buy followers. Not only will the quality of the followers you buy be very low, meaning they won't be engaged with your brand if they look at your posts at all, but it also will be very likely to backfire, as this is against Instagram's policies and you could find your account being suspended. Now you're up to speed with how to create a successful Instagram account that will have real clout and will really grow your audience. It's time to think about how you're going to integrate Instagram's latest and most exciting new features. So, how exactly do you use Instagram Stories? Instagram is quite a simple tool, which actually is one of its strongest selling points. However, by adding Instagram stories, it has added a lot more functionality, and the UI doesn't quite lend itself to this yet. Suffice to say, it's a little less intuitive than a lot of the other functionality, which may even have contributed to the slight slowing of new user adoption. Is it less easy to pick up and play now? Whatever the case, this video will walk you through it so you'll be good to go. To get started, first, right-click on the plus icon that is found at the top left of the home screen. This will be next to the other stories and it will say My Story next to it with your profile images. You can also click on the Instagram item above and to the left depending on your version and your region. You can also launch this by just swiping left from the main feed or by swiping right from the home screen. Like I said, not entirely intuitive. Now tap the circle found at the bottom of the screen in order to take a photo, or you can tap and hold if you want to record a video. From there, you can then edit the photos or videos as you normally would in Instagram, or you can draw or write on the screen just like you would if you were using Snapchat, and there are a lot of similarities here in fact. To add filters, you simply swipe across it and there will be 7 to pick from. Less than usual, although we suspect more are on the way. Badges again work like Snapchat and allow for a little more editing in your images. A cool trick that some Instagram creators are using is to use the polka dot image in order to create thought bubble effects. You can also tag people in your stories using the @ symbol as you normally would. They will be alerted in Instagram Direct and can then check out the story. Tap Done to save your story and then tap the checkmark button to share it. Note that your stories will work a little differently to your regular pictures. Remember, these will only last for 24 hours, so if your followers miss them, they will disappear. That also means they aren't added to your grid on your profile, and this is one of the advantages. It's easier to post something a little more off message here, perhaps something that is a bit of fun. Each time you add a new photo, it will be added to your story and your fans will be able to watch those images and videos in a slideshow. Remember, your stories will appear at the top of the home feed and will be indicated by a red ring circling your profile picture. Users who want to view your stories can then click on that image and will be able to sit back and watch the slideshow or swipe through the images in order to speed it along. If you want to go live, then this will work just a little bit differently. All you need to do is open up the Stories camera by swiping or clicking the plus button and then select the Live option. This is found along the bottom next to the Normal and Boomerang options. A live tag will now appear on your Instagram Stories bubble so that followers will know they can tap it in order to see what you're doing live. Your video will disappear though, so make sure you're careful to choose whether you would rather make a live video, a contribution to your story, or a regular video upload. Something else neat about going live is that your followers will be notified even when they're not on Instagram, unless they've actively turned this off. This increases engagement, and it's a great way to get people to join in whatever you're doing and to increase engagement and trust. At any time, you can click to rotate the camera, and if you select the hands-free option, you'll be able to record without holding down the button. This is useful for recording workouts or other things where you want to be in the shot and not talking to the selfie camera. During the live videos, you'll notice comments appearing down the bottom if you're getting good engagement. These are the people who are watching your video right now, and you'll also be able to reply to those comments. But why reply to the comments by typing when you have the option to reply to the comments by voice? If someone asks a question, then just answer that question in person while chatting. You'll also be able to see people appearing and disappearing in the live video, and this is a good way to get more engagement. When you see someone join your chat, then why not welcome them and ask them how they are? The first time you start watching live video and this happens, it feels very weird, and it really shows the power of being live in a big way. You may notice that next to the live option is another option called boomerangs. This is another new feature which is quite interesting and is essentially a very short looping video. It works a lot like a GIF or perhaps the live photos from the iPhone 6s. Once in the Stories camera, simply click on the capture button and a burst of 10 photos will be taken automatically and stitched together in a 1-second video. This can then be played normally or in reverse. You can share these on Instagram, in your stories, or even on Facebook and elsewhere. They look pretty cool and are certainly a good way to demonstrate tech savvy on your account. There are a few more tips, tricks, and hidden settings that won't immediately be apparent when you first start to use these new features. For starters, it is possible to save your photos taken for the Instagram stories. To do this, hit the Settings button on the top left and then choose Save Shared Photos. This will share your photos to your device, which is handy because you can then make use of them elsewhere or just keep them for your own amusement. It's also possible to do the reverse and to share your Snapchat photos in your Instagram stories, thereby getting more use out of them. Reusing content is just smart if you are an internet marketing or social media marketer. To download Snapchat photos, all you need to do is click the download button. Note that you cannot, however, download any videos that are made live. Security and privacy is always important, even when you are a marketer and your aim is to reach as many people as possible. For example, you might not want your mother to see your modeling shoot on Instagram, and you may want to remove haters from your live video. Instagram has thought of both of these things. To prevent comments on live video, you can simply turn the comments off from the settings menu. Likewise, you can hide your stories from particular people through the settings menu. Go into the story settings again and then select Hide My Story From and then choose who you want to exclude. Unfortunately, it is impossible to comment on stories, but what you can do is to message from them. Message a friend directly from their story by hitting Send Message while viewing the story. You'll also be able to receive messages similarly when you broadcast your own. You'll need comments enabled to do this though. Okay, so now you know just what Instagram's new features are all about and how to basically use them. It's time to actually start making the most from them. There's a big difference between using Instagram stories and using them well, as you'll see in the next few videos. If you're the cynical sort, you might find yourself wondering just why live video has taken off in the way that it has. What's all the fuss about? Isn't it just another fad that's likely to die a death in no time at all? Isn't it just all marketing hype? Well, actually, the reality of live video is quite a lot more impressive than even the hype would have you believe. Right now, different companies are clamoring to become the home of live video streaming, and there's a very good reason for that. It could very well change the world. Imagine if live video caught on to such a degree that everyone started using it. Imagine if, at any time, millions of people around the world were using their live video to share events. Imagine how this could change our understanding of the world. For example, if there was a natural disaster, forget news coverage. Suddenly, the very best and most powerful way to learn about the disaster would be to tune in to all of the live footage being broadcast from friends, family, celebrities, and strangers. It would be like a virtual omnipresence, being able to see an event from countless different angles all at once. And once this happens, imagine how many more people will start using live video. Live video essentially transports you to a place and time, and it could change the way we consume news and media, the way we attend live events, and more. And when this integrates with other future technologies, such as virtual reality and 360-degree cameras, we can really expect to start to transport ourselves to wherever our friends are and to experience events as though we were there. And from a marketing standpoint, being able to talk directly to your fans is unprecedented. Think of your favorite celebrity. Think about someone you really admire. Now imagine if you knew they were going live and you could actually comment to them directly. Yep, they might even answer. This is what you have the capability now to do, and your own fans will feel just as excited when you go live. While stories might not have the same potential, these two have the ability to potentially alter the way we interact with our fans. So let us bring them with us on our travels and to grow the trust in that relationship. This is crucial when it comes to selling. Someone is going to be much more likely to want to buy from you once they feel as though they know you and when they've seen just how your ideas and services have helped you in your own life and once they've seen you playing with your dog or celebrating Christmas with your family. The first challenge when it comes to creating great stories is to know which of your videos and photos are going to lend themselves best to your stories versus your main Instagram grid. Largely, the difference is whether you think of the photo as being quintessential to your brand and a great photo, or whether you think of it more as an aside, a little joke for the fans or a demonstration of something you've explained. Likewise, more immediate things work very well in your stories, such as events. So let's say you have a fitness channel and you're at a bodybuilding competition, chatting with people on stalls and meeting fans. Photos of the actual show will look great on your channel as these demonstrate what your brand is about and can be made to look dramatic and spectacular. A photo of you with the fans, though, or of you getting a soft drink from one of the stalls will work much better in your stories. Meanwhile, video clips will work particularly well for the live video as they will give your audience a chance to attend along with you. Always be sure to check copyright though before you go ahead and stream, or you can risk getting yourself into trouble. If your brand does have a personal component, then as a rule, things that are your personal brand will work best for live or stories, whereas things that fit your corporate brand will work best on your grid as permanent additions. Ask yourself, would you be happy for a photo to be a fan's first impression of your brand? If not, then it will work better as a story. The same goes for video, in which case you could share it live. Certain content will of course lend itself particularly well to the stories format or to being live. Here are some suggestions. First of all, for stories. As mentioned, photos with fans are great for stories. Behind the scenes photos also work very well for stories and can be a great way to build anticipation for something. Got a new video in the works? Then why not post a photo of you filming or editing the video? Then there are sequential photos. Seeing as stories work like a slideshow, there are some fun effects you can pull off by uploading a few photos in a sequence. How about a few photos that show something you're cooking or getting created? Photos which wouldn't be particularly attractive but that nevertheless fit your brand also work in stories. You can also add photos that supplement the other photos you've taken. For example, if you've taken 10 photos of the same activity, you won't want to flood your account with them. Choose 1 or 2 for your grid and the rest to your story. Stories are also a great place to shout out to other creators if you want to do a cross promotion. Jokes and funny asides also work here. For live videos, a different approach is necessary. If you're traveling and you've come across something amazing, then why not let your followers come along with you for the ride? And the same goes for events. bring your viewers to concerts, to premieres, and to any other exciting events you might attend. In these cases, you can think of video as being a very natural extension to what you've previously been doing with your account. In this case, videos will let your viewers almost experience that lifestyle that you're promoting. Then there are interviews. Let your visitors actually ask you questions and interact with you. Or how about conducting an interview with another personality and letting your viewers take part in that? You can also have reviews and showcases. Got a product to promote? Well, why not showcase it live? Finally, there are workouts, vlogs, and discussions.